Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Erich McElroy. Good evening.
Good evening. Yes, this is your half-hour-ish weekly comedy streaming show where we look at the problems of the world and fix them using the skills and attributes of two comedians. So sorry about that. We can solve any of the problems that are going on in the news, and by God, the news is full of problems. Today we saw that Bill Gates was apparently warned by Microsoft for sending flirtatious emails. That's a problem that they solved by telling him not to. I'm presuming they did it using Clippy, giving him a little warning saying, oh, looks like you're trying to be a perv. So we could solve many problems that are in the news, and you can get stuck in as well. You can see the YouTube thing just below us. If you watch us on that YouTube channel, you can get stuck in with a chat, and we'll see what your messages about the stories are as we plow on through. There's a link as well, which I'll pop up on screen now, where you could donate some coins to help us out. Just chuck some quids in our direction, and you can keep this whole project afloat. I think if you pre-bought tickets to watch this, good luck to you. Spread the YouTube thing as well. Let's get eyes in this direction. And I think I've done all the business at the start, so I think it's time to say, Mr. Erich McElroy, what have you got for us?
Well, before I dive into my first point of order for the show, because I think this is Series 6, Episode 7? Episode 6, Episode 7? Something like that?
I think it is, yeah.
So we've done well over 100 of these, and I think that's the first time in the intro and in the welcome we've used an image to be part of the opening. So it's a whole new chapter of the show, which is how your donations can help. The more you donate, the more we can use images right at the top.
Yeah.
Pays for the artistic department.
We will actually need some financial help today because we're definitely going to get a copyright strike for something I've planned later. So we're not monetizing anything at the moment.
Love it when that happens, no matter how much we try and slow down or speed up the songs.
Yep. Mirror flip, things from films, flipped mirror. Somehow they've managed to work out that that's a thing you can do.
It's not that one gymnastics clip, is it? That's the one that gets us every time. However they've done their embedding on that, it is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm not using the gymnastics clip this time. Next time, now you've reminded me of it, I probably will do. Good point.
So check out some prior episodes if you want to see that, where we didn't make any money, which is quite a few of them. And many of the other episodes up until today where we didn't have an image as a punchline to a joke.
Boom.
Boom. Right. So first problem of the day is the problem of agreeing with Donald Trump. This is something that I haven't really had to do very often in my career or my life or anything else. It doesn't happen that much. I mean, the thing is, now I know what Donald Trump is saying these days, and it's a little bit harder to know what he's saying because, of course, he's not on Twitter. He's been blocked or banned from Twitter, which I have to say I do quite enjoy because it even means with me now hitting the peak achievement of just over 5,000 followers on Twitter, have more followers than Donald Trump. But actually, almost everyone has more followers than Donald Trump because he's banned. So now, if you want to see what the man's up to, you got to go to his website. You don't even go to the homepage. You go to the press release page, and you can see announcements like these. Statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. Read more. Another statement, read more. Another statement, read more. So let's just be honest. It's not quite as peppy as Twitter.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite tweet in the same way. It's more of a some of his statements. So, when you look at that, you think statement. This is a statement from the former president of the United States. What sort of in-depth, intelligent, articulate, well-thought-out statement has he done? Well, there's this one. A whole sentence was a question. How come the fake news media doesn't talk about Afghanistan anymore? That's not a statement. That's just the ramblings of an old man. Why aren't they talking about Afghanistan anymore? Melania? That's all that is. He's just alone in the toilet. But he can't do it himself anymore. He's got to actually have someone. He dictates that statement. They've got to go write it up on the website. They've got to go post it on the website. I don't know if they're using Wix or if that's a, WordPress website. I'm not really sure. But there's staff involved in one question. The statement by is longer than the whatever you call that. It's longer than the statement.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of these. But he posted this the other day right here. It says, if we don't, now let me try and do this in the voice, because a lot of people do a Donald Trump impression. I'm going to do this in the voice that he must think his statements sound like. If we don't solve the presidential election fraud of 2020, which we have thoroughly and conclusively documented, Republicans will not be voting in 22 or 24. It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do. I think that's probably what he thinks he sounds like.
I think that's somehow the best British accent you've ever done when you weren't even trying to do one.
But that's not my accent. That's just the mind of Donald Trump. That's where he's thinking.
After we've been doing this for years, we've known each other for decades. You can do an English accent.
I know.
You didn't know. Every time you
I
try
can
and
do one, mate. Anytime I want, I just bring it out like that. That's how you all sound to me.
Nails down a board.
But if we go back to the core of what Donald is saying there, Republicans will not be voting in 22 or 24. It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do. And for once, Donald, you and I agree. I think one of the best things that you can do if you're a Republican and you believe that Donald Trump did not lose the last election is to not vote. Because clearly the voting process doesn't work. It's controlled by Hugo Chavez. It's controlled by Dominion. I don't believe it is. Please, Dominion, don't sue us. We don't have any money. But if you really believe that, the best answer to do is to not vote. But what's interesting about all of this is that he obviously thinks that he won or he didn't lose. And the House committee, there's a House committee in the House of Congress investigating the election and mostly the insurrection. And they're looking for documents to see what Trump was doing on the day and what the people who worked for him were doing on the day. Now, Trump, who, as we've just seen, doesn't believe that the last election was fair. He believes it was stolen from him. He wants to stop this investigation. So he sued. Now, he sued to keep these White House records that might be released to the committee secret, claiming executive privilege. Now, executive privilege is something that belongs to the President of the United States as the executive. So this is now an official court document that has been filed on behalf of Donald Trump. As we can see here, who has filed this lawsuit? It's the President. President Donald J. Trump in his capacity as 45th President of the United States at Mar-a-Lago Club. His capacity as 45th President of the United States, which is the former President of the United States. So basically, he's the president of a golf club.
He's the executive.
That's the executive privilege he's asserting. I'm in charge of the golf carts and the 18th hole. So
isn't the privilege you can claim at a golf club a mulligan?
Yes, it could be. I mean, apparently he's a terrible golfer, but that's another story. Now, when you look into the details of the lawsuit, it's quite interesting. It's only a 2-page lawsuit. It says the plaintiff, Donald J. Trump, is the 45th president of the United States, which is factually correct. I can't argue with that. President Trump brings this suit solely in his official capacity as a former president under the PRA, which is the Presidential Act or whatever that allows for executive privilege. But that's what's interesting in this lawsuit. So remember, Donald Trump claims that he did not lose the last election, that the election was stolen, and that he is the president. Now he's filed an official lawsuit in a court, and it says in that lawsuit, if you look closely, former president. He's put it in the lawsuit. The only way that he can claim this executive privilege is in the actual factual statement of a court document to admit that he is no longer the president.
Finally. Yes.
It's beautiful. And it's just so many things that Trump does and his supporters do that are just so on brand and so consistent. It's almost like Trump did this.
Dr. Tenpenny's testimony about magnetic vaccine crystals. So this is what I found out. So I have a key and a bobby pin here. Explain to me why the key sticks to me. It sticks to my neck, too.
It's not going to stick.
Yeah, so if somebody can explain this, that would be great.
Yep. So if somebody could explain this former president, that would be great.
Good times. Good times.
He can't even file a lawsuit without admitting that he's not the president anymore. when the whole point is that he's claiming presidential privileges.
As former president, I claim the privileges of the present president.
Yep.
Tricky. Yeah. I mean,
it's a tongue twister.
It's a brain twister as well. But again, if you're going to get brain ache looking at it, people with smaller brains are going to hurt less.
What can I say, Steve? It's just one of those things. It just ain't right, is it?
When you try to do it, you don't sound anything like we do. But when you try and sound
exactly
like when you sound like a posh American, you came out the other side English. Actually, no.
Posh.
When you tried to sound like an intelligent American, you ended up doing an English accent, and I think we should thank you for that. Somehow, that's a compliment.
It's the voice in Donald Trump's head, I'm telling you. Right, let's take a look at the chat to see what people are saying here. So got some hellos. Chris Curling says, "Hi all, I'm holidaying in Wales and can watch this even though it's Thursday. Technology is amazing."
Yeah,
it is. Tuesday's on it's the last Thursday because they're behind us in Wales.
Yeah, and this is also available for viewers in Scotland later.
Yeah,
they do it later
on Wednesday.
Yeah,
they do Wednesday. Would Clippy offer to help? This is coming from Facebook. So I guess Clippy would offer to help.
As in, like, ping, ping. It looks like you're trying to be a perv. Would you like some help?
That's nice.
Looks like you're trying to send a dick pic. Ding, ding.
Wouldn't Clippy offer to help? That's what he normally did. Yeah, that's exactly it.
Makes a lot of sense.
Martin S.
Imagine, just before you move on to that, imagine that he helps you send a dick pic using Microsoft Word clip art. Just like a terrible 1990s comic drawing of a dong.
Oh, using like Adobe Flash.
Well, that's why it's called. Fact. That's why it's called Adobe Flash.
And then the problem is you got the dick pic next to that paper clip, and you know which one he's going to make sure looks bigger.
Yeah.
The paper clip's going to suddenly get like this big, and then it's going to get a little teeny weeny.
You know the bits where Clippy would animate and turn into a motorbike or turn into other things? Wouldn't it be great if he animated into like cock and balls and then animated back to a Clippy?
Do I have a paper clip here? I could.
For a minute there, I thought you were going to say, do I have a
cock and balls? I got. Hold on. Right here, mate.
God. Well, to be fair, wouldn't be the first time you've shown a penis on this show. Go back and watch those episodes.
That was a child's penis.
Well, that makes it all right then.
Martin says that it looks like we're wearing matching outfits today.
We are, aren't we?
Kind of, yeah, similar. Chris Hood says 10th December. It's nice that couples do that. I don't know what 10th December means.
Tuesday, the 10th of December. Is it that one? Are we talking whichever comes first? Is this jokes about what day of the week it is? Could be that. Chris
Curling has given me English method. Yes, I believe it is.
How is it that when you try, you can't do it?
Because I get all nervous.
Right.
Martin says, Donald's typed a sentence. Monty Python reference.
Don't get
He's
that.
explained the reference he's made.
Although, you're right, they're not statements if it's a question. The opposite of a question is a statement, therefore the opposite of a statement is a question. Statement by the President of America or the 45th President ends in a question mark. It's not a statement then, is it? It's a question. Is it a rhetorical one? There's no way he knows what that is.
No, no one does. No one knows what a rhetorical question is. Okay. Oops. There we go. Let's see what else. Eric's gone all Dick Van Dyke. The best accent ever and the truest of its form.
Dick Van Dyke, you got that a third right.
Edward says, executive privilege definitely sounds like a euphemism.
It does, doesn't it? I'm just going to nip and use my executive privilege 15 minutes later, flush.
That's what JFK was doing when Marilyn Monroe would pop by.
Oh, right.
Notice also, I didn't go for the Bill Clinton because we're trying to redeem Monica Lewinsky.
Right. Also, I was just thinking of doing a poo. I thought that was the euphemism. Like when Lord Sugar or whatever it's called these days, when he comes out of his little room before into the boardroom, just add a little flush sound effect. All right, I'll give it a minute if I were you. Ooh.
I'd like that. That'd be a good invention kind of thing to do, wouldn't it?
Just use my executive privilege.
Yeah, I think so. Right. Any more? Martin says, irony is, but for COVID, Trump would still be in office, which is worrying.
Yeah.
It's true. It's quite possible. Yeah, I think we're caught up on the comments there. You can subscribe to the channel. Please remember to like the show as you're watching it and do all those things that you can do. And yes, Mr. Steve, Are you
Ready for a problem?
ready to take us to another problem?
Yeah. How do we sort out the problem of all of the shortages? It's just every week there's at least one shortage to talk about. I thought to try and keep us up to date by doing our new feature, Shortage Watch.
Shortage Watch. Shortage Watch.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
No.
So that's what I spent the afternoon doing. Sorry about the lack of jokes. But it took me longer to do that than I thought. But there's so many different shortages. What are some of the latest ones that we've been dealing with? Well, at the start of the week, we found out that there are warnings of a shortage coming up for Christmas of toys.
No.
I'm all right, thanks. Because I wasn't expecting to get any toys, so if I'm honest, I don't really care. Shortage of toys. And also, you need to remember, I grew up in the north. Not getting toys is a Christmas tradition. And I'm not old enough that I didn't have any toys. It's not like, when I were a lad, we had an apple and an orange and a lump of coal, and we were grateful to eat. But I'm Generation X, so we were more the generation who would drop hints about getting a certain toy all year. And at the end of the year, you didn't quite get the toy. You know what I mean? Like I remember a year when I dropped a lot of hints about how I loved Transformers. I'm talking about all the robots in disguise, doing all of that. Spent all of that time dropping hints that I love Transformers. Then it's Christmas. What did I get? Fucking GoBots. I mean, they're not Transformers, is what they're not. I mean, let's just go by that picture. Look, it basically bends in half. That's all it is. That's not really transforming.
Oh, that's so sad. It was bad here during the 70s and 80s, wasn't it?
It was, the 80s, I'll have you know. Yeah, got flipping GoBots. In fact, here's my theory. Parents who ended up buying slightly the wrong gift probably went on to be in charge of supermarkets' substitutions. You know when you order something online and they turn up and say, "Oh, sorry, you got a couple of substitutions here. You ordered lemons, but we didn't have any, so instead we gave you lemon-scented toilet bowl cleaner." And you're like, "Oh, thanks. It's going to fuck up my pancakes, but thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you." So let's go back to the headline about there not being enough toys, because the second part of it causes parents to break down in tears. Firstly, grow up. Secondly, why are you... if there are no toys, you don't have to buy toys. That's no reason to cry. What could possibly make parents cry? Oh, it turns out because of the shortage, Christmas gifts are going up by 26%. Oh, that is quite painful. So I understand how parents are going to find it difficult if there aren't enough toys around. And actually, I was thinking about this. It is worse that there aren't toys at Christmas than food, because if your kids don't get toys, they're going to moan and moan and moan. Whereas if they don't get food, eventually they will go quiet. So, long game, it'll be less stressful if they don't get any food. And when it comes to food and drink, what are we missing out in terms of shortages? Well, this week we heard that because of pressures in the beer industry, the price of a pint could be going up 30p because of supply shortages. Also to do with staffing, they've had to draft in a ninja to serve that pint. That is an interesting... That's a great outfit to serve a pint. I think she came dressed as one of the helpers on Avenue Q and somehow ended up being roped into getting a pint in. But the idea of a pint going up by 30 pence, again, I go back to my northern roots. When I first moved down south, it was always painful. In fact, if you look at the subheading thing, it says £6 a pint is set to become the norm in London. And it almost is, to be fair. The number of times my inner northern gets outraged at buying a pint. Can I have a bishop's finger, please? How much? I want a pint, not an actual bishop's finger, love. All right, I'll have black sheep. How much? I only want a pint. I don't want an actual black sheep. All right, I'll go for a London Pride. How about? I only want a pint. I don't want to organise the event. All right, just give me a pint of Theakston's. Not Jamie Theakston's. I just want a drink of... And there's only one drink where you could order it and eventually think, it probably is expensive. And that's if you've ordered a pint of buttcum. So, it takes a while to fill that glass, I imagine. But anyway, that's the drinks side of it. What do we... What?
It's only 4% buttcum.
Is it?
Did you not notice that? It's there on there.
Have they been watering down the buttcum?
Thank God. Have you ever had 6%?
Have I ever had 6%?
It will knock you
buttcum?
on your ass.
Which is, how it works. But anyway, so that's the drink side of it sorted. The food side of it, there was a headline this week as well. There's a shortage in the world of food, and that is the fact that Britain is facing a pie shortage. Damn it. They're hitting me where I live now. I don't mind no toys, but no pies. Nah, this really upsets the northerner within me. What's this? Because of rising cost of foil tins. So it's not that we don't have enough pies. The reason we can't have pies is because, you know, the little metal thing that the pies are in, they're running short of those. And apparently it's because that there's not enough aluminium in the UK. The main supplier of aluminium is China. And did you know there's no aluminium in America? They have this weird other thing that I think they call aluminum, which I'm fairly sure aluminum is that toilet product we saw earlier on. Could you pass me aluminum? It really is lemony fresh. I ordered lemons, but never mind. So we're not getting pies because there's no little metal things to put them in. Pie manufacturers, if you're listening, and I know you're a big fan of the show, here's my idea. Make them without the metal thing. Because I rarely eat that part. So I think just go ahead and make yourself a pie. Seems absolutely lovely. There is still a worry, though. Even if we get enough metal, because there is a concern about not having enough meat around for Christmas. Part of this is because of the pig problem. Up to 120,000 pigs are facing being culled due to a lack of abattoir workers. So they're going to kill the pigs because they don't have enough people to kill pigs.
Yep.
To find out more, I'm joined by a government minister. Hello.
Hello, Steve. Yes, sadly, we are experiencing some issues in the food sector. We don't have enough people to slaughter the pigs, and therefore, regrettably, some of those pigs will have to be slaughtered.
But if you don't have enough people, surely the pigs just live.
No, you don't understand. You can't eat a live pig. They don't stay on the sandwich, and there are food standard laws that we have not yet successfully repealed. So you have to slaughter the pig before you can eat it. And we don't have the people to slaughter the pigs, so we will sadly have to send these pigs to slaughter.
And where are you going to have them slaughtered?
I think that's what abattoirs are for.
Are there enough people to man the abattoirs?
No, that's what I've been trying to tell you. You're not very bright, are you? We don't have the people working in the abattoirs to slaughter the pigs, therefore we will have to slaughter the pigs.
If you are understaffed, how are you going to end that many lives?
We have a plan for that. We're putting Matt Hancock in charge.
Got you. Making a good point. Satire. So, we're up to date with the world of shortages.
Couple things there. I wasn't going to cry about the children's toys because my kids are too old for toys now. But when you said the beer was going to go up 30p, I'm struggling. And I think I know why there's a tin foil problem.
Yeah.
Because all the people wearing tin hats instead of masks. If I wear this hat, I don't get the COVID.
That's so true.
And I just because this makes the COVID go around me.
I can't believe we never worked that out. These tinfoil hat wearing people are the only ones who don't want to cover their face.
It's because it protects me from the 5G and the vaccine.
Yeah, but don't.
And then I'm fine. But then you don't get a pie. So they're clearly they've been stockpiling the pies and taking the tin and making the hats and making the aluminum hat.
And I'm also glad that today I realised the American version of aluminium does sound like a toilet thing. That is going to be a slam I use every time. Every time. Sorry about this, but I've learned a new thing.
Minimum. Sounds like your mama.
Yeah. So that's sadly the situation we're in. I mean, there were other shortages to talk about, but they were the main ones. And there's also the fact that there seems to be every so often stories about really expensive burgers in the news. In the same newspaper about we're running out of food. Oh no, running out of food. And then here's a burger wrapped in gold. Why?
Yep.
Why? Talk about we're all in it together. No, we're not, because some people are eating gold-covered food. Just in case you wanted to know if there was anything wrong in the world, people are eating gold-covered food in that Salt Bay restaurant. And I watched a video of them making a burger that's wrapped in gold or a steak that's wrapped in gold. Either way, it looks like it's the kind of thing C-3PO would flush. Why would you eat that? No one's ever eaten anything and gone, needs more gold, needs more transition metals.
When C-3PO went for a tinkle It really tinkled. It was like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, beautiful.
An actual tinkle. It's where the word came from.
Is it? Oh, is that where
It was a
tin
long
comes
time
from?
ago in a galaxy far, far away, and so that's just passed through the generations of where that's where tinkle comes from. Is the urine of C-3PO.
I wondered why tin as a metal it's one of those that's got a chemical symbol that doesn't look like the word tin. It's not a T, it's SN. So I guess that's because that's what it was originally called, like Santum or some weird thing like that in Latin. And then C-3PO's wee tin.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fact. Adobe
All
Flash.
goes back to Star Wars.
Living and learning. Let's go to some of the comments. You can do this. There's the address is on the screen if you'd like to do some chatting. Chris Curling says, with names such as Buttcombe and Bishop's Finger, I'm so pleased I don't drink. Why Bishop? The pig problem is worthy of the Donald. Matt S says, Matt Hancock in charge. He likes a bit of rump. Nice. Right. Let me get that for you.
Is that where the Buttcombe is?
Probably. Oh, God. Not another reason to share. I mean, and we said it as soon as it came out about what Matt Hancock was doing. I said on this show, we will keep doing jokes about him until he's in prison. And he's not in prison yet. So we're going to have to keep doing it every so often. We'll play the video of him grabbing ass, getting all ass grabby. So look, Martin S says, oh, wrong animal, what we're talking about. And Matt loves a rasher, says Chris Curling. Fair enough. I think we're up to date with some of the comments. You can keep them coming through. There's the YouTube thing on there. And if you'd like to support this crazy ass project, you can give us some money via the Ko-fi link, which again, my shirt is slightly too light.
I have seen a couple of Ko-fi links come up there, so thank you very much, I think, to some of the people watching. So appreciate that as it comes through. Right, cruising along.
Clear those
problem
off the
for
screen
you.
for you. Yeah,
Big problem. Covers lots of places, covers lots of time, and it is the problem of teaching history properly.
Ooh.
Because we're at a moment where, we're looking at the way things happened in the past. And we're starting to think, well, did they really happen that way? Or is that just the story that we've been told? I frequently have referenced my history book that I had when I was a young man. I've still got it. What is it here?
History? What's this book?
This was the history book that I had when I was 10 years old, and I would carry it with me to school every day. It's a very exhaustive history of America. It's a huge book, as you can see there, all of American history. Notice how white the pages are. Yeah, that's indicative of the history that was covered in that book.
It's more of a pamphlet, really, isn't it? If you're talking national history, if you look at the Encyclopedia Britannica versus the History of America pamphlet.
But really, there's the important history, and that's what is the point of a new law that's been passed in Texas, where they want to make sure that schools are teaching opposing views. So basically, if schools are bringing up controversial subjects, you want to make sure to bring them up in a balanced way, right? They don't want history be coming in there and saying oh, America was dominated by, people who were all owning slaves and that kind of stuff. We don't want to get into that kind of detail. It's definitely not in the book that I was given when I was 10 years old. Okay. So we want to look at different sides of different issues. So any controversial issue, you need to look at both sides. You need to be balanced, just like, the BBC is. I mean, that seems like a reasonable thing, doesn't it? We try and be balanced on this show. So one of the subjects that they're looking at trying to bring this balance to, is bringing opposing views to the Holocaust. That seems like a reasonable attempt. You don't want to be just one-sided about it all. This is something that actually came up at a school board meeting, which we can hear here.
And make sure that if you have a book on the Holocaust, that you have one that has opposing.
Yeah, an opposing view of, you want to be balanced. You want to just say, well, the Holocaust was just a bad thing that the Nazis did. You got to bring up the other side of it. Like Anne Frank, she was a teenager that was killed, but she was a teenager and they're annoying.
Oh, is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. So I thought, it'd be interesting to take that as an idea of being balanced in the way that we look at history and to play a little quiz about the opposite view and which one is correct. So it's always a favorite of the show. Let's do a quiz. So here we go, Steve. Which of these statements is true? Are you ready to play the quiz?
I'm ready to play the quiz. I'm happy to be here, and I've had a lovely day so far, so thanks for having me.
Anyone from America is going to think, why is he speaking in that way? Like he's got learning difficulties.
That's what they do on quizzes.
You sound like you need help.
Okay. For those in America, I can help. Well, I've had a great time on the show today. Pleased to be here. Going home, I'm going to shoot myself a raccoon.
That's such a good American accent. I don't know why you ever criticize my British accent.
Straight.
So, we're going to play the game. Which statement is true? Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. This might be one of the darker quizzes we've done. Which statement is true? Native Americans were slaughtered by invading Europeans, or Indians now have casinos?
That's the opposing view, is it? So they were helped into the casino industry. I guess the opposing view. Let's teach B.
Sure. You would do well in Texas. Maybe that should be the name of the game. Could you get a teaching job in Texas? Okay. Which one of these statements is true, Steve? African-American slavery is one of the greatest crimes against humanity, or they got a free cruise?
I mean, is that how they'd... Am I meant to be answering the opposing ones here? Because I get the feeling we could really edit this down to end Steve's career.
I just wanted to make you uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable.
I would go with a pretty bad
and
thing.
Also, no one wants a cruise. I think we're all...
Especially not with COVID going on. I mean, if COVID had been going on back then, I'm sure they would never have come.
Yeah, so A.
Which is true? Pearl Harbor was a sneak attack by the Japanese, or many of those ships actually look quite nice at the bottom of the sea.
Jesus wept.
I mean, if you're looking for an opposing perspective, you need to take it the other way.
Could have just been a nice little cutesy joke about Pearl Harbor's a lovely old lady, and no, you went full in with that's right. God, you're right. People, your home nation would try and put a spin on that as well. But I guess they teach A or B. I don't know.
Which is true, Steve?
Oh, true. Which is true?
Final one.
A is true.
They're both true. Which is true? 9/11 was the worst foreign terrorist attack in American history, or the Twin Towers were really ugly.
Just looking at some of the comments. Yes, it was a bad attack. Bad attack.
Both are true because we're balancing different views. All of these statements are totally correct.
Right.
And we just want to be balanced.
Right.
It's America.
Well, making sure you're balanced is why the second tower went down. What, you started it? Don't make me into the bad guy. You're doing jokes.
I was
about
being
all these
satirical.
Things.
Now you're just being mean.
Oh my God.
I didn't lose any friends in the first tower, but in the second tower, my entire family was there in the viewing deck.
He's only crying because he's remembered about the 30 pence on pints. Don't believe a word of it.
Don't bring that up.
Don't believe a word of it.
Don't bring that up. So, that's the questions there. I think you get the point I'm making.
At least I get a point.
As a quiz, let's see what people chose. Opposition. Well, I don't know which they were opposition for. A, B. It's a speedboat.
Dear.
Jesus swept. He was a carpenter. I don't know what that's in reference to. Did you say Jesus wept? I don't know.
I might have done. It feels like the quiz where I would have said Jesus wept.
And then we got some people suggesting prizes. So
I bogey speaking French, calling us peas. Good evening, my little peas.
Oh, bonsoir. Ménage à trois.
Which I believe is also a type of pea, isn't it?
You can pee during one.
Okay.
Play that quiz again. I quite like that quiz. I could come up with some more of those.
Yeah, that'll be popular. That'll definitely help this show transition to a TV network. Let's do more jokes about terrorism attacks.
And slavery. Okay. Oh, I forgot one.
Oh.
The internment of the Japanese during World War II was a bad thing, or it's where they all got together and decided to open up all those restaurants.
I mean, you should be in charge of writing the syllabuses, the syllabi for the schools back in America, because you do. Can I just check? Oh, because I didn't understand that at the start. When it comes to have books that teach the opposing view about the Holocaust, do they expect there to be a book saying, but on the plus side, or is it books that say it never happened?
I would imagine it's going to be based on the way the law is structured, because they basically don't want people to be teaching what they call critical race theory, which is essentially pointing out that America is a deeply racist country, and every institution in America is founded on the fact that the U.S. was founded on the back of slaves, and that every part of our history since then has been a repercussion of that. And rather than just kind of own that and go, oh, yeah, maybe it was a little bit bad, they've gone, no, it didn't happen. But it's fine.
How could you have a book on how the Holocaust didn't happen? Like, do you make a lot of books about things that don't happen? If you truly believe that as a thing, how would you write? Would it even technically be in non-fiction? I don't understand why anyone would be writing a book.
Don't think the Holocaust happened. I mean,
they're writing books about it, and what are they just? But what are they writing the books of the history during that period and just other shit that happened?
The big lie, like COVID and the fact I'm a big star in the UK.
Big star. You keep sending it back. Keep emailing. Yeah, we're on doing a TV show every Tuesday night. Boom.
This show was on Amazon.
It was. There were like 2 episodes of this on Amazon. And we got some pictures last week of it being, and this is the thing we always say on YouTube, you can then watch us on your telly. Send us a picture if you're watching us on your main telly, because it just makes us feel a little bit more like we're actually having TV careers.
Yep.
Oh dear. Well, that was...
Tellies were all in my house, but it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm going to need even more emotional support next week on the show, because this week we've still got one more late night Max to film. Next week, back to that obscurity that I'm so comfortable in.
Can't wait.
I mean, I still achieve obscurity whilst being on the TV. Let's not forget that.
An award-nominated show.
Yeah, the show's nominated. Yep. Meanwhile, you can get involved by chucking some coins into the pot. Our little Ko-fi thing, Comic Solving Problems. If you'd like to keep this project afloat, you can chat on the YouTube channel as well. We'll take more of the... Hang on, before we do move on. Chris Curling says, writing about things that didn't happen. We're back to Eric's book. Slam.
Oh, damn.
More on that story later. Right. The final problem from me today is about controversy to do with identity. Uh-oh, we're going in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a story in the news about how you can upset people by how you identify and classify certain life forms. What are we talking about this? There's upset over New Zealand they've got a bird of the year poll, and they've included a It's pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting. Okay. Now, even as it says in the story, it's a bit sciencey, this, I'll give you that much.
Okay.
But as it says straight away in the news article, I found this on, the winged mammal is the first non-bird to be included in the annual poll. And that really shows the problem. It's a non-bird in the Bird of the Year contest. So if a non-bird is in the Bird of the Year contest, it's not a Bird of the Year contest anymore. It's a Things of the Year contest. Because it's not a bird.
But things that can fly.
Aeroplanes can fly. Flies can fly. Right? The many things. A flying squirrel. It's mainly just long jumping, but how would you go into it? How do you define it? And it really should be about the species. It's not the first time there's been these kind of upsets. Remember a couple of years ago, there was a situation where the BBC did a Woman of the Year competition and included a panda. That is upsetting. It was the panda up in Edinburgh Zoo. And if you're a woman sitting around that year, maybe you worked really hard that year thinking, oh, let's have a look who's better than me in terms of being a woman. A panda. So the entire species of humans to pick from, and they popped a panda on the list. We can actually see a picture, like a promo shot they used during this news story. There she is. Could have been Playmate of the Year by the look of it. Brum, brum.
Oh, baby.
Look at that. Ooh, sexy. But So that's upsetting. Here's the thing, though. That's less upsetting, the panda thing. No offense if you were upset because, maybe they should have picked an actual woman for Woman of the Year. But there's a closer link between a panda and a woman than there is a bat and a bird. And this goes even further, because this is why I'm really upset with New Zealand doing this. They've made something become closer to being right, even though it was wrong before. And I'm not even talking about the panda anymore. Piers Morgan. Do you remember when he did this on TV?
Then I am entitled to identify as a two-spirit penguin. But you have zero respect for my right to identify myself in any way I see fit.
Well, if you identified yourself as an arsehole, people would back you up. But when Piers Morgan identified as a penguin, everyone thought, well, that's just bloody stupid. He's more right than a bat being included in the bird list. And I think here we are. This is why. Because if you look at the taxonomic way of organising things, species is right down at the bottom. And to be fair, it is difficult to work out the differences between species. Scientists don't really have a good definition of it. Like, you can't just say it's obvious by looking, because a Shih Tzu and a Doberman, they don't look alike, but they're both dogs, they're the same species. And you think, okay, well, maybe the definition is about they can reproduce and produce young. Well, a tiger and a lion can breed and have a offspring, but they're clearly not the same species, so it's all very messy. But we're nowhere near species. Species is just Piers Morgan and penguins getting it wrong, or pandas being mixed up for women. You got to go all the way up into class before you can separate out your mammals. The only way they could have got it more wrong, because a mammal shouldn't be in an avian species, avian class of the year thing. The only way you could have got it more wrong is if you included this in bird of the year. At least they got it in the right kingdom of animals. So it's upsetting many people about the bat being included in Bird of the Year. To be fair, the birds probably aren't too upset. It's just a shame. I'd like to see them upset. I'd like to see that moment where they open the envelope, read out who's the Bird of the Year, they give it to this native bat, and the other birds have to try and look like they're okay with it. Oh, style it out. Oh, is the camera on me? Of course it went to a fucking bat during COVID year. But this is the bigger issue, which I hadn't thought about this until today. New Zealand have a Bird of the Year competition. Every year, surely it's the pissing kiwi. if ever there's a nation that is obviously going to pick one bird, it's that one. So I don't think I solved that problem, but I definitely highlighted some of the problems with it.
I thought the kiwi was a fruit.
Well, then it is, and for some reason it's in the Bird of the Year competition.
Those are the eggs that we eat, with the green in the middle.
Yeah. And in its taxonomic rank, it's in the wrong kingdom.
So you might as well, in this definition, you could say that the kiwi is an egg. Could it beat? I mean, it looks like an egg.
It doesn't fly.
It's got a shell.
So
yeah, but you're just linking things that have similar properties. So a kiwi is an oval. So is an egg. Egg of the year, kiwi.
I mean, egg of the year. I mean, still no, but egg of the year again.
And
mammals
there's birds
are pretty...
that are kiwis.
We've all got we knock out eggs. Humans are pretty good at doing it. Like all mammals do eggs, but they just keep them on the inside because we're polite and we're neat. Not like those stupid birds and reptiles plopping them out everywhere. And don't get me started on fish, you spawning dirty bastards.
But do bats lay eggs?
But no, they don't. They don't need to lay eggs because they're mammals.
But it's got wings.
The duck-billed platypus is a mammal and it lays eggs. But other than that, we're pretty good at just keeping those eggs tucked up.
It's confusing. So could the platypus win Bird of the Year?
Could it win Bird of the Year?
Could it win Bird of the Year if it lays eggs?
Nah.
Why not? It's got a duck's bill.
So, but I mean, I could wear a duck's bill. It just...
But
Justin Trudeau in those photos looked a certain way, but you wouldn't call him...
Science is just a mess. That's why no one believes in it anymore.
Yeah, the one thing that is definitely true, that if you're having a Bird of the Year competition, don't put a bat in it during the one time when bats are not popular. How are bats doing well? Do you know
is that because Ben Affleck isn't Batman anymore?
Yeah, that's what we're upset about. All right, into the comment section. Jack says, I have you on PC and Big Telly at the moment. Increase ratings. That's what we're after.
Send us a picture.
Chris Hood says, award-winning obscurity method. Oh, God, that hurts. Oh, so many levels. So many levels. iBogey says, shocking. Not sure what about, but actually, iBogey, this is a good tweet. This is a good message. RSPB+. That is, I'll give you that, is good. Eric doesn't get it. You can tell by the look to camera. I have you on my phone, but holding it really close so it looks like you're on a TV, says
We'll take that.
DVD JN9.
I do that now because I got a new phone and it's better resolution than my television. So.
Hold it up there. Jack says, did nobody file them in the bats aren't birds? iBogey, is it a spider or a plant? Spider of the year, the spider plant being included. Shit.
There you go.
Chris Curling says that the kiwi identifies as an egg. Steve is egg of the year. I mean, yeah, I'd take some of that. I used to be an egg. Chris says, how about dog eggs? Yeah, and you don't see white ones so much anymore. And what was the donkey eggs at the beach? You want to watch out for those. Isn't it dog leg, says Jack, and I think we're up to date there. So yeah, who knows what's happened. The world of science has gone crazy, and somehow it all gets worse.
Yeah. But this is going to make you feel better about the show and possibly the entire series, is that someone made a donation at the top of the show, and they have said, I think this is public, so it was Jack, and he said the title sequence for Shortage Watch alone was why he gave that donation.
Thank you, because that was what I spent most of the afternoon working on, and I think you can tell that.
So there you go. See? You see, it's all worth it.
Yeah.
You didn't even have to watch the rest of the show, to be honest.
I always do that, though, where I think, like, right, I've got 3 hours to work on tonight's show. Come up with a great idea for scene 1. Then that's all I work on. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing 2 stories and anything more than that. Ugh. But, yeah. Next time we do Shortage Watch, I've got it ready.
It's all built. And so, got to donate every time. But yes, there we go. We've reached the end. So you've got one last episode of the MASH to record, and it's going out on Thursday. That's very exciting.
Yeah, and there is another episode the week after, but we don't film for it, so screw that. I don't get paid for it. So.
What do you mean you don't film? How is there another episode that you don't film?
It's a best of, which is, I mean, fair enough. They need to fill their thing. It just feels like best of right at the end of the series. I know a lot of series do that, but it just feels weird. It's like Phil Collins releasing his best of at the end of one album.
Yeah, you need it more. I mean, it's like when sitcoms like Friends have been going on for a long time, and then they do a Remember When episode when it's clearly that somebody's either pregnant or filming a movie that week.
Yeah.
So,
well, the episode of Buffy where for some reason Buffy's not in it. Oh, that's... and apparently she was off doing Saturday Night Live. I was reading about that recently. They had to write an episode without Buffy in it because of that.
So you're keeping up on the news of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Saturday Night Live in 1993?
Yep. Keeping up to date. Oh, come on, Buffy started in about 97. Get with the program.
I never watched it.
Or did it end in 97? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it must be. Yeah. So we don't have Mark in here. He would fact check us. Eric drinks egg dog at Xmas.
Yep.
I would drink eggnog.
What's the difference between a dog and a nog? We're all scared. We're all scared. After the things you wrote earlier on, let's not get you answering that one.
Both sides, Steve. It's very important to do both sides. Martin
S. says, kiwi is not the only fruit. Beautiful. One remaining award-nominated episode. Oh, it's too late for me.
Many award-nominated cast. Would you like me to make you an award, Steve?
No, I want a real one.
Can make you an award. What have I got here?
No, you see,
I must have something.
I didn't grow up during that participation certificate era. It's not about the taking part that counts at all.
How about that? I'll send you some of that. There you go.
Thanks.
Some Crest teeth whitener.
Oh.
My mother sent me that after watching this show.
To be fair, that could be a colouring of the lights, though. Because you said earlier on before we actually went live, I looked too pale, so I've changed all of the lights to make them yellow lights. That's not going to be helping my teeth or my conjunctiva. I'm going to be looking like I'm absolutely knackered. And I am.
But that's your big award, Steve. Or I can give you one of these.
Fine, thanks.
The crystal rock, which prevents the chemicals from the computers hurting me.
Right, does it?
Yeah, I've told you about this before.
Oh, the chemicals. Does the crystal prevent the chemicals from the computer or the radiation and energy coming off it? Because it's probably all believable bullshit, isn't it?
Well, I've got a Yeah, I've got some things. I'll send you something.
Oh, right. Do you know at university, I did a little specialism before I graduated. I took part in this research studentship thing, undergraduate project, basically. We wrote a paper with the professor, and it was on crystals. So I actually know something about crystals, and I seem to remember vaguely that there's 7 different crystal structures, and not one of them interacts with any of that bullshit energy that absolute idiots come up with.
What's that? I'm hearing some both sides of this, and the other side of it, the crystal saying, "Fuck off."
All right. I think if you hold the crystal to your ear, you can hear the cunt bullshit. The cunt.
No, I'm listening just to the essence of the crystal, not the crystal itself.
I can hear the C, but I think it's got effluent going into it. It's weird.
We're gonna lose our big crystal following.
Which just sounds like there's a large lady who's walking around afterwards.
It's a large bat.
Yeah. All right. I think we're up to date. I'm a Colgate junkie, says I bogey. Eric's the Mandela. Eric's the Mandela. It's just the Mandela affair. You were remembering something wrong. A bag of whitening for Ryland method. Crystal maths. So that's my kind of maths. I got off my face at university on crystal maths, which we did, doing the X-ray diffractometer jobby. And I think we're up to date.
There we go. So we'll be back next Tuesday, if not the Tuesday following, whichever comes first. And I've still got one loo roll left from. But what I've done with my loo roll now is I've used it to soak up petrol.
Good. And then when you need it, bring it out.
Give it a squeeze. Yeah. Just have to remember not to wipe with that roll. We'll be doing giggage. Any exciting giggage this weekend? Where can you be seen?
Can't remember, but I do. I have a busy weekend. I think there's one every night, but I can't remember where.
I'll be at Crack Comedy in Kingston and Crack Comedy Brixton.
I think I'm in Banbury on Sunday.
Banbury.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Steve's in Banbury, wherever the fuck that is.
Don't know.
Near the Bury. Past the BAM, straight onto the Bury.
I think it's in Oxfordshire. Or either way, I'm going to be trying to borrow some toilet roll to wring it out for petrol.
Yep. So. There we go. Well, thank you for watching. Follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, catch up on our other links and past shows. And you can kick into the Ko-fi if you like, especially if you like that opening credit.
Yeah, it's worth every penny. I can play it again before we go.
Should we do it one more time as
we
go?
Get your money's worth out of it. Yep. There we go. Got it ready. So let's get rid of these. Till next time. Bye.
Bye.
Shortage watch. Shortage watch.
Please, sir, can I have some more?
No.
Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems.
And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video.
Or subscribe. Commitment.